Hi, somebody contacted me recently and asked me, would the new font converter work with Dingbat fonts? And the answer is yes. If you don't know what a Dingbat font is, basically it's a little picture. So for every character that you type on your keyboard, a little image will appear instead of a letter or number. So I'm going to use the font converter and show you how to work with dingbats. You have to just treat them exactly the same as you would a font. And I have done videos recently on my YouTube channel regarding this font converter, so I'll try and put a little information on this video that will give you a link to those, and you can go and have a look at those first. So I'm going to open up the converter, and just for the sake of this video I'm just going to type A, B, C, D in capital letters, and I'm going to scroll down through the fonts and I'm going to find a Dingbat font that I know I've got on this computer. Here we go, sewing patterns, and I'll try and zoom in, but the A, B, C, D that are typed in this box have now changed to characters. If I click on the preview, you'll see better here. I'm going to close that down. I'm going to put it on about 96 and I'm going to say save. I'm going to save it on my desktop and I'll just call it 1 for now. And I'll bring the file here so you can see it. And then I'm going to leave the A, B, C, D characters there, and I'm going to come down and choose another font that I know is a Dingbat font on this computer. There we go, Can Dog, this one's called. And I'm going to say save, and I'm just going to call this one 2 and put it on my desktop. And then I'm going to close the converter down. Now you don't have to use all capitals. Basically Dingbat images are assigned to a character within your keyboard, and they can be upper or lowercase characters, and sometimes even under the numbers as well. So I've got a blank project open in Canvas to save some time. I'm going to come to the SVG icon. I'm going to go to my desktop and choose that first file I saved, which was number 1, and say OK. And that's brought the images in. Now I'm just going to group them because they come in as individual letters, if you like. So I'm going to select them all and group them, and I'm just going to drag them out to resize them. And now I'm going to ungroup them just so that I can work with them. If I wanted to draw or cut these designs as they are now, that would be perfectly fine, no problem, could do that. Could give the file a name, save it into my Canvas projects, send it over to the machine via Wi-Fi or USB, however you do your transfers, and just use those as I would any other shape within the machine. But if I wanted to weld these shapes to something else, then there's a step I've got to take. This particular one at the end I wouldn't have to do anything with because there's no cutout within the middle of this shape. And if I fill it with colour, just so you can see it on the screen, you'll see what I mean. Now if this one, for instance, has got a cutout here and a cutout here and a little bit of a cutout at the bottom, and if I fill that with colour, I'll just use the same colour, you'll see that it fills everything in. But to be able to weld this to another shape or a letter, these have got to be holes, if you like, punch outs, if you like. So to do that, while that's selected, I'm going to go to Edit and Subtract, just like I showed you in the previous video. And now that's brought the definition to the shape, and these are hollow. And that would now enable me to weld that to something else. So let's just say I wanted to type a letter. I'll just make it bigger, move these out of the way. And if I wanted to weld this lady to this letter, I'd select both and I'd go to Edit, Weld, and it would weld. Okay, now let's just choose the letter A again. make it bigger, and we'll choose a different lady that we've not done anything to. So we'll fill this with colour so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the definition is there, but it's not punched out. Okay, so we'll put her to the letter A. We'll select both and we'll go edit weld. And this time it's welded it, but we've lost the definition. So if I undo that, if I just select the lady and go to edit subtract, so it punches out those two little cutout sections, and then we try again to edit and weld. This time it'll weld and it'll keep the definition. So basically, Dingbats are fonts and you treat them the same way as you would any other font. If you just want to cut them as they are without doing anything to them, then you're fine, you can just cut them. If you want to weld them to another shape or another character and you want to keep all the definition, you've got to do the edit subtract function first. So I'm going to get rid of those and I'm going to bring in the file number 2 and we'll have a look at that, and it should be exactly the same. So again, I'm going to group them just so I can resize them and then ungroup them. Now again, this one would be perfectly okay and this one would be perfectly okay to weld to anything and not lose any definition, because there are no cut out sections within here. But this one's got a little cutout section there, and so is this one. So again, if you wanted to weld this to something else, let's say we want to weld it to this one, we wouldn't be able to, well, we could weld it, but we would lose the definition. So we've lost the section there and we've lost the section there, but it's welded. So again, you would just select your design, choose edit subtract, choose this one, do edit subtract. Then this time if you wanted to weld them together or weld them to something else like I've just shown you, when you weld this time, because you've done the subtract function, these little cutouts are still in place, and if I fill that with colour, you'll see the definition is still there. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope it's explained that, you know, you can use your Dingbat fonts within the font converter. It just opens up a whole new set of options for us, really, this font converter. And there's no reason why, if you've got premium functions activated within your ScanNCut canvas, so say the likes of the label maker, the sticker maker and the rhinestone maker, there's no reason why you can't then use these within those functions. So you could say fill this with colour, you could print that, scan it through your ScanNCut and cut it. You might want to maybe cut the shape in the rhinestones. So I'm just going to choose the rhinestone. I'm going to choose a small rhinestone and just the outline and say OK, just for the sake of the video. I've then turned that Dingbat font into a rhinestone pattern. Yes, you may have to work on it a little bit more. You can see there's some overlapping stones here. You could move them around just to get, you know, a bit more definition, but it does work. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe if you don't already do so. If you are already a subscriber, just make sure that you are still subscribed,